All right, guys, welcome back to the Everything Else Full podcast. They're going to be looking at the Rose Bowl game that will be played on New Year's Day out in Pasadena, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. As usual, last year we didn't get to see this game in Pasadena due to COVID. It is now back. Utah represents the Pac-12 as the champions. Kyle Whittingham's first. They'll be playing Ohio State. 6.5-point line in favor of the Buckeyes, 66.5 over under. Looking at the Utah offense, 35.5 points per game. Superb balance has gotten them here. I think it starts with the running game, though. Tavion Thomas over 1,000 yards, 20 touchdowns. They got a nice trio of backs, though. Pledger, TJ that is, and Micah Bernard. They've been very reliable as number 2 options in this offense. I like what they get from all 3 running backs. Cameron Rising at quarterback, he's very athletic, 400-plus yards. 5 touchdowns on the year. This team runs for 200-plus yards per game. I like what they have. They're very physical up front. They've been just flat out dominant in the trenches. It's a big reason why they've been able to run the ball so well. I like the balance they have. Cameron Rising as a passer, he really took over. Charlie Brewer didn't have a great start to the year. Rising got the nod. He never looked back. 2,200 yards on the year for him. 18-5 touchdown to interception ratio. They don't have like a great group of pass catchers, but they have 3 guys that really get the job done for them. Britton Covey, he's been playing, it seems, for forever. He's a longtime veteran in this Utes offense. He's their leading receiver from a reception standpoint, but they have 2 big tight ends in Brant Kuzi, Dalton Kincaid. These guys are the bread and butter down the seam in the small pockets for the Utes. This passing game, it's one of the nation's worst actually in terms of downfield passing, but the play action works for them. The balance is there. So even though that's something that's true about their offense, they don't do a great job throwing it downfield. They move the ball downfield meticulously, consistently. They eat up a lot of clock. They have nice balance. This is a pretty good offense. The offensive line, Nick Ford at center, he's probably the best one they have. He's having a great year for them. All around, these guys have progressed from week-to-week basis. They just hammered Oregon twice. I like what they bring to the table on offense. Looking at the Buckeyes offense, it's one of the nation's best. I think the biggest thing to watch for them is the opt-outs. Who's going to play, who won't. It's the Rose Bowl, so I anticipate everybody will be playing, and that's how this prediction will be made. But, of course, anything can change in a moment's notice. But, great trio of pass catchers, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. These guys have absurd production. C.J. Stroud, freshman. I picked him to win the Heisman. He's going to come up just a little bit short, but he's had a great year. He's gotten better as the season has went on. The chemistry this offense has been able to build, the timing, the spacing they have on their routes with the talented pass catchers. It's just a thing of beauty with this offense. Their offensive line has struggled a tad, but they still have a dominant left side. They're Munford, Nicholas Petit-Frere. Back to Stroud, he's averaging 350 yards per game, 71% completion rate. The 3 pass catchers, they all, have 900-plus yards on the year. If Olave plays, he will likely, he just needs 70 yards to hit 1,000. That'd give them 3 1,000-yard pass catchers. That's pretty absurd. TreVeoyn Henderson, he's been a freshman phenom. Coming into the year, he was my biggest impact true freshman, and he absolutely blew that out the water. He was by far a phenomenal impact performer in his first season. I didn't expect him to be this good. 15 rushing touchdowns, 1,100 yards, averaging 7 yards per carry. He's a mix between a bruiser and a guy that can break off runs 40, 50-plus yards. I really like all around. This offense is phenomenal. It's a shame they won't be playing for a national championship. Michigan had their number in the final game of the regular season a couple weeks ago. They have to get tight end Jeremy Ruckert involved. I think, I don't know if the pass catchers and Wilson Olave will play. Again, I expect they will. But that would give, 5 stars of Mika Egbuka, Julian Fleming, Marvin Harrison. It would give all those guys opportunities to play. So it wouldn't be much of a fall-off. I think against this defense, though, would certainly be concerning. It's not the game you want them to have to step up in as the Rose Bowl. So they'll be fine in the future, of course, but I think it's something to definitely monitor with this Buckeyes offense. That's terrific balance. They run for 186 yards per game. Buckeyes are first nationally in points per game and yards per game. Looking at the Utes defense, they're giving up about 20.6 points per game. These guys, another unit that's been terrific this season, kind of like the offense. Back in September, they started off 1-2. The defense wasn't great. The offense, they weren't great either. But as the season went on, they've been terrific. It's led by linebacker Devin Lloyd. He's one of my favorite players in the entire country. There's no worry with him for opting out. It's not going to happen. He will be playing in this game. I have no doubt about it. 106 tackles, 22 tackles for loss. That's second in college football behind Will Anderson. He's also got 8 sacks, 4 picks. He had, a pick 6. He's got 2 on the year, but he had 1 against Oregon as the Pac-12 championship MVP. This guy's just phenomenal. Everything he does is from a run stopper to his abilities in coverage. Love watching the guy play football. Nephi Sewell right next to him make up a very good linebacking duo. These guys, just like the offensive side of the ball, they're very physical. On this defense, especially in the trenches, Micah Tafua, he's got double-figure tackles for loss as well. Van Fillinger, Junior Tafuna, they have great size all around. I love the depth they have, the overall physicality. And it's not just good in the front 7. I think the back end, they're playing very well. Cole Bishop, freshman safety. This guy's been very impressive over the last couple weeks. He's been a big-time playmaker for them. Alongside Vontae Davis and Brandon McKinney, senior safeties. The freshman Bishop is fitting right in with them. Clark Phillips, he's probably their best cover corner. He's gonna have some tough matchups in this game against the Buckeyes. The secondary, they don't allow a lot of big plays. They'll give up some yards from time to time, but all around, this is a phenomenal defense. They've grown tremendously. Kyle Whittingham's done a great job with them. Typical Utah defense there. They play with heart. They play with energy. I expect that here in this Rose Bowl as well. The Ohio State defense, at first glance, this is a terrible matchup for them. They've been dominated by Oregon and Michigan in the trenches. They're now playing a Utah team that's as physical as they come. They dominated Oregon in their own right twice these past couple of weeks. Just something to be noteful of. The run defense, they've been incredibly soft. They gave up almost 300 yards to Michigan, almost 300 to Oregon as well. They got burned by balance in both of those games. It wasn't even play-action passing. It was just not very good man coverage downfield. Even Denzel Burke, their best corner, had some issues against Michigan. Just the defense this year has been a big problem. Jim Knowles, they just hired him to come correct that stuff for next year and beyond. But for this game specifically, this defense, it's a bad matchup. You can't really convince me otherwise. I love the defensive line they have. I've been praising them all year. And they did such a better job against the run since the Oregon game. But they turned around against Michigan, the nation's best O-line, and they just flat out fell on their face. They could not get a stop to save their lives. 5 straight 70-plus yard drives the Wolverines had to end that game. I like what they have though on the interior of Haskell Garrett. Tyleik Williams, he's been very good as well. Zach Harrison, Tyreek Smith. They provide a solid pass rush, but they haven't been as exciting as I figured they would this year. 35 sacks for the team, that's a very good number though. That's something they do a good job of, is getting to the quarterback. But I got to slow down the run first. They had no sacks against Michigan or Oregon because I couldn't slow down the run. They had no opportunities to tee off. This right now seems like a very similar opportunity for the opposition, where they're not going to be put in many passing situations. So they're going to have to stiffen up a lot against the run. And then the secondary, of course, they're going to have to play very good as well. I like their chances more so if they're able to stop the run, though. I like their chances in the back end. I like how the linebackers have been progressing throughout the year. Steele Chambers, though, a former running back, switched over to linebacker. So personnel seems to be still a concern. Trajada Mitchell, though, him, Tommy Enchenberg, I think at linebacker, these guys have made some big steps throughout the year. But all around, it's just a poor effort in terms of run defense. Remember last year they ranked towards the bottom of college football in pass defense. So this defense still has a lot to work on. For this game specifically, though, I'm not really liking their chances here. But it's the Rose Bowl. Everyone's going to step up. I think they're all going to play hard. And I think the Buckeyes defense, they're capable of playing much better, so we'll see what happens. Playing the keys to the game for the Utes. I just alluded to it. Run the ball, establish the ground presence. Just beat Ohio State with physicality. You've seen them get pretty much steamrolled by 2 opponents this year. They're able to do that. The Utes can do that with ease. I think for Ohio State, it's the same. You have to get some stops on the ground, put Utah in some long third down passing situations, give your pass rushers an opportunity to make some plays. This game is going to be won in the trenches, and I think Utah's going to do that. I think 6.5-point underdogs is a little disrespectful because this team matches up very well against this defense that's struggled in the trenches. I think Utah's going to dominate them. I have no question about Ohio State and Ryan Day. These guys are going to show up to play this game, but Utah right now, they're playing with so much energy. The tragedy they had to go through this year, the tough start to the season. They've been very good here down the stretch. They're playing with a lot of energy. They're definitely going to be the more excited team. I'm not saying Ohio State won't, but these guys are going to be incredibly excited to play. They're going to be very energized. They're going to go out there, and I think they're going to play great, especially Devin, Lloyd, Cole Bishop, all those guys on the defense. I just don't see Utah losing this game, even though the Buckeyes, great receiving group. They're going to pose a nice threat. And, it'll be interesting to see how Utah can match up with them. But overall, I think Utah, they're going to control the clock. They're going to control the ground game just like the 2 losses they've had this year. Pretty bad matchup for the defense that's not shown it's capable of stepping up and being any tougher than it has been in their 2 losses. Playing a fiery Utes team here on New Year's Day. So I'm going to take Utah to win this game. The Rose Bowl is one of my favorite games every year, so this should be a great contest. I'm going to take them to win 35-28. That's going to be all for today's episode, guys. Make sure you tune in for all the other Bowl Mania episodes. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.